true lightness and self-carriage. This is the ultimate, isn't it? But let's face it, riding horses can be so frustrating. Getting these results that we're looking for that are beneficial to both your horse and you as a rider sometimes can feel so difficult, and the process can be very slow. But on the other hand, you know that you're totally capable. You're working really hard at this. You have your horse's best interest in mind. Then you go to your ride, and every ride follows the same way. Your horse is agitated. You're missing sleep at night after your ride because you're not sure what you're going to do on the next ride to make it better, and it never gets any better. But yet you're searching for that one moment that really feels easy and feels flowing. And then you find yourself maybe blaming your horse. Your horse is being bad. Your horse is misbehaving. Or maybe you blame the situation. Oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough knowledge. Then you blame yourself that you're not good enough. It's not you, and it's not your horse here. There's nothing that you or your horse is doing wrong. What the real problem is that the way riding is taught is backwards. What happens, it's presented as a mysterious set of events that must happen, and that tends to keep secrets from riders, right? It keeps them from working effectively with their horses. And so I want to say there's no mystery to this, there's no secrets. It's just the real problem is that riders are not supported. So until that is fixed, no amount of information that you're going to get from anybody is going to get the results that you want coming your way. So what I'm going to share with you today is a way for you to find true movement, true balanced movement for you and your horse, and a way to find comfort and ease in that, so that you become stronger and stronger, your horse becomes stronger and stronger and more coordinated, and those results that you're looking for happen much quicker. And hi, my name is Chris Adderson. I'm the founder of Harmony for the Horse. The first thing that we need to ride in true lightness and self-carriage is to understand what you want to achieve with correct training with your horse. What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go with your horse? What do you want to do with your horse, and why? And for example, I'll give you an example. I was teaching a student the other day. She was doing what she had been told to do in lessons, and it was accurate, but she didn't have the theory or the true knowledge or understanding in a deep way behind it. She had a surface understanding, but she didn't have the deep understanding of why she was doing what she was doing. So she knew she had to lift the head and neck, for example, but she didn't know exactly why one would lift the head and neck. So she became mechanical, in other words. It became just a thing that she did without a purpose and an understanding behind it. And she didn't understand the goal of rising the head and neck, lifting the base of the spine, lifting the front of the horse, getting the horse lighter so that you can have functional movement following, so the hindquarters can then be able to be moved and engaged better and be used better. She didn't understand those details, but what she understood was that she just had to lift the head. And so this is where it can become mechanical, and of course results won't start to come your way because you're not understanding the end goal. In the lesson, I showed her how to use her body and how to communicate clearly to her horse in the direction that we wanted it to go. And then she had a mental image of where she wanted to go with her horse. But also, and this is very key, what she had is she had a kinesthetic memory of what it needed to feel like. So when she asked her horse to lift the head and neck and everything behind the reason for doing that, I made sure that she had a kinesthetic memory of what that was to feel like, so she could do it on her own. And that's where you will progress faster. Understanding your own body. If you know me, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I was a professional dancer for many years and performed around the world and became a high-level dancer, which requires functional movement, okay? There's dysfunctional movement patterns and functional movement patterns. We need functional movement patterns with our horses. And if we are doing something day in, day out that's creating a dysfunctional movement pattern, that's not going to help you get true lightness and self-carriage. So to get the true lightness and self-carriage, we first need to have a self-awareness of our own bodies, how we use our bodies, and the responses that our bodies are receiving and the actions that our responses are then giving. And by the way, I have notes here. If you'd like to give you a free copy of my notes from this training, put True Lightness as a note for me below, and I'll make sure you get my notes. Understanding your body, understanding your movement, your motion, and where movement comes from in you, and how to change that, how to condition patterns that are going to be functional for your body. This is what is essential. You really won't see this taught anywhere else except in our program, in the way that we teach it. It's a very simple, profound way that we use to teach a rider how to use their body on the horse, in life in general. So these two things that I've mentioned here, first, an understanding of what and where and why you want to go with your horse, along with the understanding of your body. These two things are going to help you gauge your progression or your progress with your horse. You need to have metrics like these. You need to have certain metrics to gauge your progress. As you're heading towards true lightness and self-carriage, these two things are going to be your metrics. So true lightness and self-carriage is a combination of consistent, clear communication using your brain, your intellect, your spine, your intentions, your seat. And by your seat, I mean your pelvis, your inner thigh, your leg, your back, your seat, your elbows, and your hands. Lastly, you are gradually in this progression, using those metrics to gauge your progress. You're gradually building a very functional, light horse, which you start with yourself first, and you understand what that feels like. So then you can take that to your horse. We, along the way, need to recognize that there may be blockages that come in, right? With any being moving with the effects of gravity and physics in this world will have blockages coming in. So we need to be able to recognize that and resolve it. If we have the blockages and they remain there, that will block the flow of the motion, block the movement. And I want to give you just an example, one section in our program. We teach you how to warm up your horse, and we give you a strategic warm-up that I've developed actually over 30 to 40 years, that helps you to actually find these blockages that I'm talking about, which will stop the flow of movement. And this rider came to us with a very clear blockage in her horse that she didn't recognize. She went through our strategic warm-up, and it was clear to her, not only visually, but kinesthetically, what it felt like when her horse, a beautiful Andalusian horse, had this blockage happening. And so then she was able to problem solve and resolve it, and then gauge her progress, and then work towards riding in true lightness and the freedom that that brings. As we are attaining true lightness, this strengthens the body, but it also strengthens the mind and the understanding. Okay, so the musculature is strengthened, right? The spiraling, the stabilization and the coordination is conditioned in the body. the use of the back, the use of your horse's back. How is your horse using the back? Which then leads to the limbs, right? And then we talked about already the neck and the head and the base of the neck, the shoulders. All of these things become coordinated and conditioned in a way that gives you true lightness. Weight distribution is also very critical. We need to educate ourselves on weight distribution, as well as educate our horse on weight distribution, right? Weight needs to be equally distributed in order to get self-carriage and get true lightness. Then the horse actively lifts you, right? First of all, you lift your body, you carry yourself. The horse learns how to lift their body and carry themselves. And then when you're riding, the two of you are actively lifted and carrying, and the horse is participating in actually carrying the rider. But you're not a sack of potatoes up there, right? You're actively carrying yourself too. And this creates the healthy movement pattern that I was referring to. The riders need to understand the placement of the horse's body and the weight distribution of the horse's body at any given time. That's not going to be possible in a complete and whole way unless you understand your placement of your body and your weight distribution, because it'll all be fuzzy, right? It won't be clear. And this is why I say it's simple. When these concepts are followed, riding becomes simple. I don't mean it's easy, but it's simple with these concepts, right? Each rider is at a different level. Each horse is at a different level. But with this process of achieving true lightness and self-carriage, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are. This is the underlying goal for any equine pursuit. Actually, for any time that a rider is sitting on a horse's back, this needs to be the process. These concepts need to be followed, or if they're not, you will get dysfunctional movement. You are building an athlete. You are taking time to build this athlete. If you want to get more trainings that I do, make sure that you click on the bell icon, and when it fills in, that means you're going to get notifications of when I go and do these trainings. And if you need support in this way to help you to start self-carrying yourself as a rider, and then help your horse to start self-carrying, which then helps the hindquarters to become easier and easier to engage. And then your horse self-carries more. It becomes a cycle that's self-perpetuating if we pay attention to it. And then it becomes easier and easier and more flowing and more joyful. So if this is something that resonates with you and you'd like support, there'll be a link somewhere around this training. You can click on that and jump on a call with us, and we can see how we can help you. So I hope this has helped you to ride your horse with true lightness and self-carriage, and give you a different perspective perhaps, or a way of looking at things. So thanks so much for being here.